Ah, the Krusty Krab talent show. Let us see the amazing performances the ocean has to offer tonight. Wishy-washy makes a wish for many, many fish. But this cesspool school makes Wishy the fool, only a tool in a whirlpool of cruel misrule.
Oh, brother, this guy's
I've decided to embark on a journey to craft the perfect gym leader for every type in the game. I've been going type by type to build a full team of 6 Pokémon with thought out movesets, abilities, items, and most importantly, an emphasis on representing that type as best as possible. Each type has certain traits that make it unique, and this series aims to both highlight those traits and utilize them to craft a high-level gym leader team. In the last video, we covered the ground type, and today we're making a splash with the final starter type, water. But before we make waves, let's cover the rules. This team will not include legendaries, mythicals, ultra beasts, or paradox Pokemon, as gym leaders don't typically use these. I'm also excluding all 4 generational gimmicks as I have thus far, and the same goes for not repeating Pokemon between teams. Because, you know, variety. As for what can be included, Pokemon can have any of their moves, including level up, TMs, egg moves, and even ones removed in previous generations. They can also have any of their abilities and any held item. Lastly, this series has 2 goals. Build a diverse and well-balanced monotype team, and build a team that represents its type as best as possible. With all that covered, let's talk about the water type. As the most common type in the game, it's a bit tough to boil water down into a couple distinct traits, much more so than types like fire or fighting. Not to be confused with firefighting, which would be a trait of water types. To be fair, when your pool of Pokemon is larger than the roster of any single generation, this is to be expected. With such a wide array of offensive water types, defensive water types, and whatever the hell you want to call Lumineon, the type averages out to the point of feeling quite balanced, as is evident through their stat rankings. Outside of speed, everything else sits around that midline of 9th or 10th. Like I said, the type truly just averages out. At least in terms of stats, because when you look at the type chart, water's identity starts to surface a bit more. Offensively, it's super effective against fire, ground, and rock, and not very effective against dragon, grass, and itself. With every starter type struggling against dragon, itself, and whatever is behind it in the type triangle, water has the benefit of having no resisted hits outside of those 3, which can't be said for fire, and especially not for grass. But even more importantly, it's only weak to electric and grass, and it sports 4 resistances in fire, ice, steel, and itself. This impressive defensive position is arguably water's most important and most defining trait. Similar to many poison types, which also have just 2 weaknesses, many water Pokemon are able to fill a solid defensive role due to the lack of things that seriously threaten them, especially when paired with types that cover those threats. As a result, many defensive water types like Slowbro and Suicune, and in more recent years Toxapex and Tapu Fini, have cemented themselves as defensive staples in the metagame, ultimately culminating in the popular term, bulky water. Admittedly, these examples owe a lot of their success to their base stats, but if it wasn't for their solid positioning in the type chart, we might never have coined this term in the first place. However, bulky waters are simply one piece of what makes the water type stand out, which leads me to their signature weather condition, rain. Widely considered the best wetter. I mean, technically it is wetter. Widely considered the best weather in the game, rain does a lot to assist the less defensively inclined water types. For starters, it increases the damage of water moves by 50%, and decreases the damage of fire moves by the same amount. Plus, a few abilities work in conjunction with rain, like Hydration, which cures the user of a status condition, Rain Dish, which restores 1/16 of the user's max HP every turn, and best of all, Swift Swim, which doubles the user's speed in rain. Dry Skin and Forecast also benefit from the downpour, but no water Pokemon have these abilities. And let me just check my notes. Yep, you guys can sit this one out. While Hydration and Rain Dish aren't anything crazy, Swift Swim is easily the best of these abilities, as doubled speed is absolutely no joke, especially when the rain is already giving them a 50% power boost. While I don't plan to flood this team with Swift Swim users just because I can, you can definitely expect our gym leader to use 1 or 2. Speaking of our gym leader, I see them being a very free-spirited, go-with-the-flow kind of guy, similar to Marlin in Black 2, White 2. Say what you want about this guy's atrocious tan line, as a person, he's pretty chill. Kofu is another great representation as a happy-go-lucky, cheerful man who doesn't let much bother him. I don't picture this gym leader being super passive, just calm and collected, like an undisturbed lake. Even if something happens to cause ripples, sooner or later, you know things will settle again. Honestly, I'm trying to adopt that mindset more myself. Just like you should adopt my channel on your feed and subscribe. Alright, I'll admit that shameless plug was pretty rough. If you won't sub for me, at least do it for Oliver. He and I would both appreciate it. One last thing before we jump in, due to the literal ocean of options there is to choose from, including a bunch of amazing starter Pokemon that could make a solid team all on their own, don't be surprised if something you're expecting doesn't make the team. I could make a solid, liquid, 3 to 4 teams of completely different Pokemon, all of which would be worthy of a perfect gym leader team. Just keep that in mind before you rush to the comments bubbling over about something not making the cut, okay? With all the precedents set, let's dive in with our first team member, the water bird Pokemon, Pelipper. Say what you want about the toilet bird, but with it and Politoed as our only options for setting up the rain automatically, we were destined to have something a little underwhelming in order to make the rain strats happen. And while Politoed would be fine on this team, Pelipper provides just a touch more utility than the frog can. To get the obvious piece out of the way, our ability is of course Drizzle, which sets up rain for 5 turns as soon as Pelipper hits the field. But with the Damp Rock in hand, on wing, the rain gets extended out to 8 turns. Like with many weather setters, this is the only reason you really see Pelipper in any competitive setting, as one look at its base stats tells us we're not using it for that. Although if I'm being honest, 100 defense and 95 special attack are pretty decent for a Pokemon meant to provide utility. Plus, with Pelipper being part flying type, we aren't weak to grass, although we are starting off the team with a glaring 4 times electric weakness, which we'll be sure to shore up later. As for Big Bird's moves, first is going to be Weather Ball. While a bit weak before weather is factored in rain, Weather Ball's base power is doubled, increasing it to 100, which is really 150 considering the 50% boost from rain. Plus, if someone wants to counter this team with Sun, we have a move to throw it back in their face. Second on the moveset is Hurricane. Another move that benefits from our weather, Hurricane can't miss in rain, providing Pelipper with a reliable secondary stab move that hits grass types for super effective. Plus, the chance of confusion is always a nice touch. Third is U-Turn, allowing us to switch out and save Pelipper to set up rain again later in the match. And finally, Roost allows the big build boy to stay healthy over the course of the battle. While Pelipper's main purpose is to set the team up for success, between Weather Ball and Hurricane in the rain, it can dish out some initial damage if need be. But that said, it's still a Pelipper, so it's best to leave the damage dealing for our future team members. Now that the rain is up, it's time to focus on offense, and what better team member to do that than the dolphin Pokemon, Palafin. This bottle-nosed badass from Scarlet and Violet is of course famous for its ability, 0 to Hero. The first time Palafin is sent out, it'll be in its cutesy little dolphin form, with stats that are, for lack of a more eloquent term, not good. However, once it switches out, it transforms into its hero form, and from then on, it sports some of the most insane stats ever seen on a non-legendary Pokemon. Hell, even a lot of legendaries are jealous of this slick superhero. As for the exact set this pelagic protector wants to run, it has a crazy amount of moves at its disposal, many of which would work out well on a team like this. But ultimately, it was Palafin's need to switch out to activate 0 to Hero, as well as the rest of the team's movesets, that determined its role on this team, that role being a choice-banded menace. With Palafin being our most powerful team member by a pretty good margin, giving it the choice band allows it to hit as hard as possible straight out the gate, while also letting it capitalize on all the great water-type moves it wants to use. The first of those being Flip Turn. Again, it needs to switch out after it first hits the field to gain its insane stats, and Flip Turn lets us do exactly that. Sure, you could just hard switch, but gym leaders aren't often known for doing that. Second on the moveset is Wave Crash. As the nuke button on our moveset, a rain-boosted, choice-banded Wave Crash from Palafin is just disgustingly strong. If it doesn't resist it, it might not live it. Third is actually its signature move, Jet Punch, a very powerful priority move that can allow it to pick off a faster weakened opponent. I say weakened, but it can just outright OHKO something if it's weak to water. And finally, to make sure we don't only have water-type moves, Ice Punch gives us some coverage to hit both grass and dragon types for super effective, leaving opposing water types as the only thing we can't hit that hard. You either die a hero, or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I know triple water stab might seem a little bit like overkill, but each move serves its purpose. And again, if this is a rain team, why not take full advantage of the 50% power boost? That said, as a moveset honorable mention, Palafin can run a really effective bulk up set with Drain, Jet, and Ice Punch to set up and sweep a team, but I'd rather not waste rain turns setting up, and Flip Turn is just too good to pass up. I still find it crazy that they made a non-legendary Pokemon this powerful in the first place, but hey, you know what they say, don't look a gift dolphin in the nose. With Palafin likely going straight for Flip Turn the moment it hits the field, it'll be bringing in our next team member, the big fish Pokemon, Basculegion. Man, between the big bird, dolphin, and big fish Pokemon, the names are kinda lacking in the creativity department today. Basculegion has two different forms depending on gender, with males having more physical offense and females having more special offense. And even though Palafin has the physical side covered, we'll be going with male Basculegion to make use of its better offensive stats and overall move pool. All three of Basculegion's abilities are great in their own right, but as you probably guessed, Swift Swim is going to be our pick so it can outspeed pretty much anything. Just like how it's trying to outrun the weight of dead souls enveloping the end of its tail. No joke, that's actually canon. Basculegion could be another choice band user alongside Palafin, but to lean a little more into the bulky side of bulky water, I decided to give it the Assault Vest. I have no problem if you think another choice band would be better, but I'd rather Basculegion be able to switch up its moves. The first of those being Liquidation. While not as powerful as Wave Crash, we won't be whittled down by Recoil, which fits more with the bulky variant I'm trying to run. Second is Flip Turn, allowing us to pivot out into either Hero Form Palafin for some big damage, or Pelipper to reset the rain. Third is Last Respects. Our other option for physical Ghost Stab is Phantom Force, which isn't bad, but as a 2-turn move, it would eat up rain turns. Plus, since Basculegion can flip turn out for later, we could easily save it for the end of the match to have Last Respects do upwards of 300 base power worth of damage. Last Respects? More like no respects. And fourth, we have Psychic Fangs. It's not here for anything specifically, but Basculegion only has so many coverage moves, so it's good enough. I want to reiterate, giving this fish a choice band would make total sense, but with how well-rounded the water type is itself, I'd rather have a more well-rounded Basculegion that can still outspeed and hit hard in the rain while also living an extra hit or two. And on that note, allow me to leave you with another poem. One fish, two fish, red fish, dead fish. Next up is easily the Pokemon most of you are going to be shocked about, the light Pokemon, Lantern. Despite this adorable anglerfish being in the depths of the competitive ocean, it does fit in line perfectly with the goals of this series. Looking at its stats, Lantern fits the bulky water term to a T. Its defenses may be underwhelming, but the incredible 125 HP stat allows it to live hits a lot better than you may think. In addition, its typing of water and electric is very beneficial for our team. It gives us super effective stab for opposing water types, which are honestly one of this team's biggest threats, and it gives us something not weak to electric. But why don't we take it one step further by giving it the ability Volt Absorb, turning any electric move used against us into some extra HP. Alongside Pelipper, these two form a really nice core. Worried about electric? Switch to Lantern. Worried about grass or ground moves? Switch to Pelipper. And you can do so with the move Volt Switch. To be fair, neither Lantern or Pelipper are likely to outspeed whatever hit they're trying to get away from, but it's the thought that counts, right? Plus it just adds to our insanely pivoty team we've built. I really didn't intend on our first four members running their own personal relay race, but here we are. Second on the moveset is Scald, because there was no way in hell I was going to make a water team without Scald. Third would be Thunder. Lantern may be our weakest team member, but Thunder is still Thunder, and with its perfect accuracy in rain, we have an amazing move to hit opposing water types. Lastly, to take a little bit of the burden off of Pelipper, Rain Dance. Lantern can run a lot of really nice support moves like Heal Bell, Thunder Wave, and Toxic, but might as well have another way to set up the rain if Pelipper dies on turn 1 to a Thunderbolt. Honestly, that's pretty likely. As for an item, Leftovers is the best way to make use of Lantern's bulk. It may not be the flashiest team member. Okay, well, it is flashy, but not in that way. It serves as a great piece of defensive glue for our team, specifically in the type chart. Also, quick reminder that Rotom Wash was on the electric team, so that's why you're not seeing it here. With another way to set the rain up, it's time to include our second Swift Swim user, the dragon Pokemon, Kingdra. A water type that's synonymous with rain teams, Kingdra is arguably one of the best Swift Swim users in the entire franchise. And for the purposes of this team, it's even better since its dragon typing cancels out both the grass and electric weakness. Plus, it has a really well-rounded stat spread. Sure, nothing is amazing, but nothing is that bad either. And once it's in the rain, it can start dishing out some powerful hits, especially since it'll have a Life Orb to increase its damage potential. First on its moveset would be Hydro Pump, the stock standard powerful water move. No additional effect, no additional comment. Second would be Dragon Pulse for spammable dual stab. Third would be Ice Beam to help deal with grass types. Not that we're super worried about them with Kingdra. As for the last move, you could either go Surf for a 100% accurate water move, Hurricane to make further use of the rain, Draco Meteor so you can have a Dragon-type nuke button, or even Flash Cannon to deal with fairy types. Since the goal for Kingdra is to be in the rain, and since it would suck to miss Hydro Pump unnecessarily, I'd go with Surf, but any of those options would work out just fine. Since Kingdra is a good mixed attacker, you could run a physical set with Wave Crash, Outrage, Iron Head, and Liquidation, but we already have physical offense covered with Palafin and Basculegion, so Special is better to fill the offensive gap this team has developed. And honestly, Kingdra functions much better as a special attacker than physical if you ask me. While my team building partner may disagree with me on this one, I want to give a quick honorable mention to the carefree Pokemon, Ludicolo. Carefree, you say? Maybe he should be the gym leader. Another great Swift Swim user with a beneficial typing, Ludicolo may not be as great in the stat department as Kingdra, but as a grass type, it would provide some nice type chart support for our team. And it can easily run a similar Life Orb set to Kingdra, with Hydro Pump, Energy Ball, Ice Beam, and Surf. As I established, there were a lot of options to choose from, and as a result, some pretty good Pokemon that arguably could have made the team didn't. Which is also why you're not seeing Barraskewda. It may hit like a truck, but it's got the defenses of a wet paper bag. Also, Palafin exists. But I had to give some love to my boy Ludicolo, for reasons. As for our final Pokemon, no type in the starter trio would be complete without a starter Pokemon. And between all three types, Water was the most difficult to pick for this by far, as almost any of them could have made the cut. Blastoise is a bulky Shell Smash sweeper, Feraligatr can set up with Dragon Dance and use Sheer Force Life Orb boosted attacks, both Swampert and Empoleon have top tier typing and great bulky offense oriented stats, Samurott is... I'll be honest, buddy, you didn't stand much of a chance in this race. Your Hisui form is definitely better, but it's still a no-go. Greninja is f***ing Greninja. Primarina hits incredibly hard while still having good bulk, Inteleon is a speedy and powerful special attacker, and Quaquaval can Aqua Step Moxie boost its way through someone's entire team. You could literally choose any of them, aside from base Samurott, and I wouldn't disagree with you. But ultimately, I needed to make a decision, indirectly causing some of you copious amounts of pain as your previous comments lead me to believe. After very careful consideration, I went with the soloist Pokemon, Primarina. Greninja and Quaquaval were very close to making the team as well, but given how the rest of it turned out, Primarina's incredible 126 special attack, alongside its decent bulk, ended up being what this team needed most. And that special attack will only get better with the setup move, Calm Mind, making it an even scarier special monster than it already is. As for attacks, it'd have Surf, our most powerful and reliable water move, Moonblast for dual stab, and either Ice Beam or Energy Ball for some final coverage. As for the ability, Torrent is preferred since Liquid Voice won't do anything, and for an item, Leftovers can help keep Prim healthy. While I'm very happy with our Serenading Siren as the final Mon, I can't stress enough that most other starters would work too. Run that Shell Smash Blastoise for some scary setup, or Quaquaval to Swords Dance Aqua Step Moxie Sweep, or even Battle Bond Greninja. Just please, please don't try to argue for regular Samurott, okay? And there you have it. Like I said, there were too many options to choose from, and as a result, I left off some amazing Pokemon that easily would have made the team in a different timeline. So let me know which water Pokemon you would put on your perfect gym leader team down in the comments. And bonus points for any of you brave enough to use Pyukumuku. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out the links to my Discord and channel membership in the description if you're interested. And as thanks for making it to the end of the video, here's a picture of my dog. Talk to y'all soon.